Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our continuing series Retro Revamp Rewind, where I take a look at some of the earliest videos I made on the channel and talk about the games again because I love them so much and I didn't have as much of an audience back then. But today we're taking a look at Matrimelee, or Power Instinct Matrimelee, on the Neo Geo AES. And I will say this might not be the best fighting game of all time, but it is hands down my favorite fighting game of all time. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, down below hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell, definitely helps us out. If you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down there as well. But Matrimelee is absolutely an absurd and amazing game, and I will say that if you do want to play this, play it anyway other than buying an original copy on AES. They're like $2,000 now, and I've owned mine for a very, very long time and certainly didn't pay that much. But Matrimelee is both a really competent fighting game and an absolutely absurd chuckle fest at the same time. Right here off the top, I'm playing as Annie. She's usually my favorite character to play as. But you have a woman in the background floating around on a bench playing her guitar and singing a very quiet and contemplative song. It doesn't really make much sense as far as the fighting game is concerned, but Matrimelee just loves doing the weirdest things with their soundtrack, with the visuals and everything else. And Power Instinct has been a series that's been around for a really long time, and they've been doing this weird thing since the start of the franchise, and I've loved every single game in the entire series, but Matrimelee is definitely my number one. And I think that just comes down to the fact that 1, it's a Neo Geo game and I love them. 2, this woman's currently singing about her love of eating. 3, the Neo Geo graphics always just look spectacular and colorful to me. And 4, it is the weirdest of all the games in this series. Even Power Instinct 5, the commemoration on the Taito Type X, which I've either already talked about on an uncomported playlist or will be soon, this one is by far the strangest of all of them. I even love the little intercuts between stages where your opponent's face is painted if they lose. But moving right on to the next stage, now we have a song that's talking about how much fun it is to connect to the internet, and the song sounds like an old Soviet Russian war anthem. It's just the weirdest thing. Now I will say that the game, I don't want to call it lazy, but it does reuse the same arenas over and over again. It changes things up and puts different graphics and different songs in there, but you can see twice in a row now we've been fighting in the same arena. But we're fighting against Tane, an old woman who throws her dentures at us to attack and has fireballs of her own head coming out of her. It's just so strange. What person was making a fighting game and thought, you know what would be a great attack? For a senior citizen to throw their dentures at the opponent. I love it. It's amazing. I couldn't come up with this stuff, but it works. But mechanically, the game is also quite excellent. It's not going to reach the same depths as something like Geru Mark of the Wolves or Real Bout Fatal Fury Special or any of those other top tier Neo Geo fighting games. This is definitely going to be one level below that, but I just really click with Matrimelee. All the inputs, all the moves, the speed, everything that's going on as far as the actual gameplay mechanics are concerned just really feel good and like they always connect well for me. So that's one of the other reasons why I enjoy this game. Definitely off the top, I like it the most because of its absurd nature, its fun soundtrack, and its weird characters. But if that wasn't put with a competent fighting engine, then I really wouldn't enjoy the game anything more than just a curiosity. But when you take those two things and combine them together, the playful nature and the strange soundtrack with a really competent fighting mechanic, then that's why this game to me becomes my favorite fighting game of all time. And unfortunately, I don't really hear that many people talk about it, and it's probably because it's not in that same tier as a Mark of the Wolves. But even before I get to the end of the video, have you played this before? Leave me a comment below, because I'd love to know if there's other huge fans of this series out there. Because it's still going on. There was a Taito Type X Nezuko Live re-release of Power Instinct 5 recently in the last couple of years, adding more characters. Unfortunately, we never got it in the US, but it is still something that the makers of this game are making for the fighting game fans and community, and I really wish that we got that over in the US in arcades, but I may actually import a Taito Type X with the hard drive for this game just because I love it so much. But I've spent so much time talking about how good the soundtrack is, I want to let you guys listen to it. So after this bout right here, I'm going to let you hear a song from start to finish as one full fight, because it is not only my favorite song in the entire game, it's just so weird and so fun that I think you guys should really enjoy it. The gist of it is they're singing about how much fun computers are and how much fun it is to build a computer. I know it sounds strange, but trust me, just listen and enjoy.
Round 1, fight!
mean, seriously, how much fun is that? You're fighting in a computer store with empty computer cases and components all around you, and the singers are just talking about how much fun computers are. And obviously the developers of this game must love the concept of PCs, because not only do we have a song about how much fun it is to browse the internet, we also have a song about how much fun it is to build a computer. And don't get me wrong, I love reading the internet and making computers when I have to, but the music is just great. I have to let you listen to the soundtrack as well. It is just spectacular. I'll be back in 30 seconds, but enjoy. And that's just why I love Matrimelee so much. The soundtrack is just weird. You have these arenas that keep changing. You have a woman showering in the fog in the background. This game just has the biggest sense of humor of any fighting game, or a lot of other genre games that I played for that matter. I just love that it doesn't take itself too seriously, but at the same time it takes itself seriously enough to be a really competent fighting game. And again, now we have another song about UFOs and aliens, and we have all these swaying, dancing gray aliens in the background as we're fighting Poochie here, a really strange character in and of itself. It's a man in a dog costume with giant furry ears. You're basically fighting a furry. And again, this is just another incredible song on Matrimelee. If they sold this on vinyl, I would buy it. I can't not let you listen to this, guys. You absolutely have to. So again, I'll be back in 30 seconds, but enjoy the alien soundtrack with Poochie running around. I mean, hell, if I actually kept my phone on ring ever, I would make that my ringtone. Fair warning though, if you do want to play Matrimelee, you have to play the Japanese version to get these songs. You can play the MVS version, you can play the AES version, but if you play the North American or European releases, you're going to get a completely different soundtrack that is not as magical and weird as you're hearing right now. But moving right on to the end of the game, I was able to get there in 1 credit, which I can usually always do because I played this so much, and we're going to be fighting Princess Sissy. Now, SNK is notorious for cheap bosses. Now, granted, Noise Factory, not SNK, made this, but it is on the Neo Geo. Princess Sissy is the cheapest boss in any fighting game I have ever encountered. I still cannot regularly beat her, even if I try to just cheese the entire fight. It is near impossible to actually even get a hit in on her. This is the steepest difficulty curve of any fighting game I've ever played, because I can get through the entire roster to get to her on 1 credit pretty much 99% of the time. I can beat Princess Sissy maybe 5% of the times I face her. It's a little unfortunate they made the boss so incredibly difficult, but I don't really mind that much because it's the end of the game and you're hearing this revamped version of the wedding march in the background. But yeah, that is Matrimelee. 10 out of 10, amazing game, love it, great soundtrack, great fighting mechanics. Leave me a comment down below if you played this before or checked it out. Short of that, do me a huge favor, hit like and subscribe and that notification bell, definitely helps us out. I'll be back with another Retro Revamp Rewind when I feel like it. Bye bye.